All right. Good morning. We'll go injuries real quick. Michael Clemens will not practice again today. He's still dealing with an illness. His status for the game is questionable. Everyone else is going to be a full participant.
So it's come out what happened with Max. I know his dad talked to ESPN. I'm just curious if you could shed some light on the timeline when Max found out or anything like that.
It was after the game, and again, as far as details, if the family and Max want to talk about it, they can and get more detail. But it was a non-football injury, and it's very unfortunate. But thankfully, he's got a chance to get healthy and get ready for next year.
What is the diagnosis of that like? How do you? I mean, does he come to you? I mean, when you hear blood clots, it's exactly like a sprained ankle.
Well, it's the whole medical staff. You have your medical meeting in the morning and on Monday morning, and they dish out the news, and then you look at the depth chart and you get rolling.
Is that scary when you get news like that? I mean, that's not like a normal football injury.
Yeah, it's. I can imagine. A doctor obviously will have a lot more knowledge on that in terms of life-threatening and all that, if it is. But
you would say this is what's going on with Max. Are you oh?
Yeah, it's shocking because of you're not expecting that. You're expecting something completely different. But just thankfully for him, he's got a chance, and he'll be. We'll get him back soon.
Solomon Thomas was named the Jets nominee for Walter Payton Man of the Year this week. Can you speak to just his character and who he is as a player?
Saleh is he's phenomenal. Him, his family too, his mother, father. Such an amazing human being. He's always team first, very thoughtful about people around him. I can't say enough about Saleh. Obviously, we drafted him in Seattle, in San Francisco, so we're probably a little biased. But his character, not just as a football player, but just as a human being, and how he cares for the next human next to him. He's awesome and deserving of that recognition. You're okay.
You've been aggressive on fourth downs. Just as you're getting late to the second year of being a head coach, how is your evaluation and decision making on fourth down evolved over the last year plus?
Well, this year, I feel like we've had more opportunities. Last year, obviously, it felt a little more obvious. You're trying to play catch up. This year's been a little bit more calculated. There's a faith in the guys that are being asked to execute, not only just from an offensive standpoint, but defensively to stand up if it doesn't go the way we want. But there's just been some good opportunities. LaFleur and his staff, you just projecting confidence. Hey, did you like your fourth down call? Just the amount of communication, talking with Smash, and just the situation of the game. Some of it has been easier. Some of it's been difficult. Some of it I look back, I'm like, God, I don't know if I should have done that. Some of it I look and like, damn, we got lucky. But it's still a roll of the dice. But still try to take not only the information that you get from a number standpoint, but also the information of the game and where we're at, how we're moving the ball, how we're playing defense, and just trying to make the best decision possible.
When it comes to fourth downs, I mean, generally you see defensive guys like you are. I mean, they're not uber aggressive, where it's almost like put it in the defensive's hands and let them play. So, was there a point where you were like, you know what, I'm going to be more aggressive, or I want to be a more aggressive coach on fourth down? Think about your philosophy. You're not.
No, I don't know. I did play offense, and then I did start my coaching career on offense. No, I don't know about. I get the stigma, offense, defense, all that stuff, but there's a. I don't know. I just feel like there's a global aspect to it in terms of it's not just. I get sometimes as a play caller, if you're the actual offensive play caller, the instinct is, well, of course I can get it. You're biased towards your own decision making. Of course I got a play that's going to get a first down, and we should get it. And so you see offensive guys probably going for it more, where on the defensive side, the mindset is, well, they can't drive the ball the length of the field, so if I'm sitting at midfield, I'm going to try to pin them inside the 10. We'll get it back at midfield, and we'll roll. And so there is the two different biases. So you just gotta be able to step outside the box of your personal bias and look at it from a global standpoint in terms of all the information that you're getting and whether or not this is what's the best decision for the team. And I feel like with Smash and just communicating with all the coordinators, that we've been able to do that this year.
Since the last time you guys have played the Bills, both teams have like gone through a lot or gotten a lot of guys back or lost guys. You know, you changed quarterback. Is it kind of, does it feel almost like a completely different animal? I guess this game just because they got all these guys back on defense. You're playing Mike White, like.
It's a division game, so it's always going to be it's going to be a bear to play a division opponent. Schemes are schemes. The guys they get back, like Milano, Poyer, they're special in every sense of the imagination from a defensive standpoint. Offensively, I feel like they're pretty healthy. They're healthy back then. They are now, and it's going to be a challenge. It is. To play a division opponent twice, it's hard. It's hard because you're trying to come up with schemes that keep them on their heels, but at the same time, there's a balance in terms of how you do things. But they're uber talented. They're on 10 days rest, playing at home. It's a great opportunity, big time division game. So it's gonna be fun. I imagine their fans haven't seen them since God knows when, since that big old snowstorm. So I'm sure they're gonna be excited to see their team again. And so we're excited for this challenge. It's gonna be fun.
So it's the second week in a row you faced a team that had 10 days rest. Does that change anything that you do, or how does it change what you do?
No, it's you step up to the challenge. The schedule, however the schedule comes out, that's how you got to take it. And but I know our guys have a lot of juice this week. Yesterday was a really good practice, a lot of juice, a lot of energy, a lot of jawing between the receivers and DBs, which is always fun. But I think we'll be ready to go.
When you were in Seattle, that was kind of like when Richard was really coming into his own. You guys played the whole, like, one guy on each side. Did he ever go to you and say, like, hey, I want to shadow, like, let me shadow? Or was he open to, like, this is my side of the field, I'm going to shut down my side of the field?
So in Seattle, it was more. I was a QC. I left when Sherm was really starting to ascend. I wasn't there, so I can't speak for that. When we got to San Francisco, I think Sherm has always taken pride in the understanding of left and right. There were times where you saw Sherm travel. And from a competitive nature, Sherm always wanted the absolute best. He always wanted those opportunities. But I think what was great about Sherm is how respectful he was to the entire process and the entire scheme, and understanding and having confidence in his teammates that they can execute just like I can. If we all know what we're doing, we'll be able to execute just as well as the player on the other side won't matter. Go ahead.
Yeah, because again, I wasn't sure if there was an overlying situation, but could you foresee something down the road where when he really starts coming into his own, Sauce is a guy that you let shadow?
We have a little bit. We shadowed the tight end in week one. We did a couple of things. For him, but to be honest with you, there's different philosophies, and not to say that it will never happen, because you're always going to try to do what you can to win a football game. But it's easy, and it was funny. I was talking to Revis about it when he was here. The easy part is getting him aligned, right? That's the easy part. It's the other 7 guys in the back end who have to find a way to not only get aligned, but now they're in a different position than they're normally in, and they're having to execute a technique that they have to execute. And so, what is the opportunity cost there? Is it worth trying to create a sideshow where all the other guys are just a little bit uncomfortable versus, so there's different philosophies, and it's been done, so it's not like it's impossible to do, but our philosophy has always been to we got really good football players, and if we just let them play football and get out of our way as coaches in terms of trying to be gurus, they'll make it work. And so we do our best to put them in the best positions possible, keep it consistent, keep the messaging very consistent, and teach a 501 aspect of what's happening to them, and we can spend less time having to teach them what they're supposed to do play to play, and we can teach them more about what the offense is about to do. So, again, different philosophies, different styles of playing football.
Okay, got more.
You talked about the receivers and defensive backs going at it at practice. I'm sure Sauce and Garrett match up at times. How much do you think they've helped kind of push each other to be better this year, and how much do you think they've benefited from those matchups in practice?
For sure, and it goes all the way across the board. It was funny because yesterday you saw E. Moore. It got so amplified. E. Moore and Garrett jumped in to take some of the show team reps, and Mims was taking some. They all wanted to. It was fun yesterday, but usually in the NFL, and it's hard for people to know that or believe this, but it's the DBs and the receivers that make practice go. Because O-line, D-line, they're like, hey, just they're not, you don't have pads on, they're not banging, so it's not like everything's loud. But so the best teams I've ever been on, whether it was San Francisco, Seattle, in Seattle was the Legion of Boom just yapping all day, and then in Seattle or San Francisco it was Debo and those guys just yapping, Kendrick Bourne yapping all day, and that when they're jawing at each other, it just brings practice to life. It makes it fun.
Sauce has gotten so much praise, and rightfully so, but do you think DJ's been overlooked a little bit?
For sure, I do, and Sauce deserves all the praise he's been getting. He's been having a heck of a rookie year, but DJ, I've said it before, he's playing at a Pro Bowl level. Because we are left and right, he sees Stephon Diggs too. He sees Jamar Chase. He sees Justin Jefferson. He's gotten action on all those guys too, and he's played at a very, very, very high level on all of them. He's made some big plays. He's made big tackles. He's made. He's been so sticky in coverage that there's nowhere to throw when you see his side of the field. So he's been fantastic. His communication, his off the field stuff that people don't see with regards to how he's bringing along that young secondary and talking to Michael Carter and because he played nickel and talking to Sauce and not just about football but taking care of your body and how to be a pro. So he's been everything we hope for.
He's a good player. I mean, pretty much everywhere else he's been. I don't know if he's ever played at the level that he's playing at this year. Have you seen something that's changed, like something he's doing better now than he's ever done before?
No, he's I've talked about this, that I screwed up when we tried to make him a nickel safety. He goes to Seattle, and he plays corner for about a year and a half. So he's really only in his second and a half year playing corner. He's in the NFL, so he's getting better, and he's super young, and he's still honing in on his craft, and I think what we're seeing is a young man who's still continually finding ways to get better because the position is so new to him.
So, to circle back about your decision making, whether to go for it on fourth down or to punt, how does having Greg affect your decision making process? If you're in a position where it's like 4th and 5. 45.
Yeah, well, he makes it easy that it's always always have a fallback to go get points, which is a big part of it. And so like throwing him out there for the 60-yarder, I didn't think twice about it until he lined up, and I looked out there and I was like, damn, it's a long one. But it was good because offense was again that was a really cool situation where we get up to the ball. And they burn a timeout, so there's no more timeouts left. So it made going for a field goal easy because you knew if we missed it, they weren't going to have enough time to get in field goal range. The half was pretty much going to be over after one play, and maybe a Hail Mary opportunity. But at that point, it was still a hard decision. Like, shoot, if we kick a field goal here, they have a timeout. All they need is a 15-yard completion. But so he makes it easy. Obviously, he's having a hell of a year, but again, he's part of the equation in terms of trying to make a decision that's the best for the team.
Well, good.
All right, thanks, guys.